You are exhausted. Not just physically tired, but that deep in your bones kind of exhausted where you wake up on a Monday morning, stare at the ceiling for a few seconds, and feel that familiar wave of dread wash over you before your feet even hit the floor. You already know exactly how the next 8 hours are going to go. You already know what your bank account looks like. You already know that no matter how hard you work today, tomorrow is going to look almost identical. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you have this quiet voice that keeps whispering, there has to be another way. That voice is right. But before we go any further, I want to be completely honest with you about something. Most of what gets marketed to you as passive income is either oversimplified, outdated, or designed to make someone else money, not you. So right now we are going to cut through all of that noise and talk about what actually works, what the data actually shows, and what real people are actually doing to build income that flows in whether they are working or sleeping. And if at any point while watching this you feel like you want to go deeper, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. Do not wait on those. The people who hesitate are the same people who end up watching this kind of content 2 years from now still in the same spot. Either you move now or you don't move. That's simple. Now let me paint you a picture. Imagine it is a Tuesday afternoon. You are not at a desk. You are not answering emails. You are not sitting in traffic. You are doing something you actually enjoy, maybe something as simple as having a meal without watching the clock, and your phone buzzes. Not an alert from your boss. Not a bill reminder. It is a notification telling you that money just came in. While you were living, income was happening. That is not a fantasy. That is the outcome of building the right kind of income streams, and it is what we are breaking down today. Let's start with the one that has made more ordinary people financially stable than almost anything else, and that is creating digital products. Think about this. You spend time once, creating something, whether that is a guide, a template, a course, a set of tools, something that solves a real problem for people, and then that thing sells for months or years without you touching it again. People who do this well report making anywhere from a few $100s a month to several thousand, entirely on autopilot. The initial cost of entry is almost nothing compared to a traditional business. There are no employees, no inventory, no storefront, just value packaged into a format that people can access immediately. The math on this is genuinely hard to argue with, but here is where most people make the mistake. They think they need to be an expert. They think they need credentials. They think someone more qualified should be doing this instead of them. And that belief, that quiet self-sabotage, is exactly what keeps the same people stuck, while others who are not even particularly special build something real. The truth is, you already know things that other people would pay to learn faster. You have already lived through experiences that took you time and pain to figure out. That is the foundation. That is the product. Passive income for people across every single industry. And that is content that earns through platforms and partnerships. We are not talking about going viral. We are talking about creating content that has what people in this space call evergreen value. Content that answers questions people are typing into search engines today, and that they will still be typing 2 years from now. When you build that kind of content library, the compounding effect is staggering. Someone who started building this kind of content base just 18 months ago can end up with dozens of pieces working for them simultaneously, each one quietly pulling in traffic and revenue around the clock. That is not luck. That is strategy. And here is the part that hits different when you really let it sink in. Think about the hours you have put into your current situation, the commute time, the overtime, the mental energy spent on work stress that follows you home and steals the evenings you should be spending on things that actually matter. What if even a fraction of that energy had been going into something that compounded over time instead of resetting every single Monday morning? This is not about working less. This is about working on the right things. Let's go into the third strategy, and this one is for people who understand that real wealth is built through assets, not just income. That strategy is building systems around licensing and royalties. Now, before you tune out thinking this is not for you, hear this. Licensing is just the practice of creating something once and allowing others to use it in exchange for ongoing payment. Musicians have done this forever. Photographers do it, writers do it. But so do developers, designers, educators, and everyday people who created a process or framework that businesses want access to. The passive nature of royalty income is almost unmatched. Once the asset exists and the agreement is in place, the income becomes almost automatic. People who have built royalty streams describe it as the closest thing to actual financial freedom they have ever experienced. Not because they became millionaires overnight, but because they broke the direct link between time and money. And breaking that link changes everything. It changes how you sleep. It changes how you show up for the people you love. It changes the way you think about your future. Now let me address something uncomfortable, because this conversation deserves honesty. Building passive income is not instant, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something that will disappoint you. The real timeline for most people who do this seriously is somewhere between 3 and 12 months before they see meaningful results, depending on the strategy and the consistency. That window right there is where most people quit. They start, they do not see immediate results, and they walk away. And then they spend the next decade watching from the sidelines wondering why nothing in their financial life ever changes. The people who stay in that window, the ones who keep going when it feels like nothing is working, those are the ones who end up on the other side with something that actually changes their life. And here is what is fascinating about that group. They almost universally say that the hardest part was not the strategy. The hardest part was believing it was possible for them specifically. Not just possible in general, but possible for someone like them. With their schedule, their resources, their situation. It is possible for you. Right now. With what you have. That is not a motivational line. That is what the data consistently shows when you look at the patterns of people who actually pull this off. The compounding effect of building multiple passive income streams simultaneously creates a kind of financial stability that feels almost surreal once you are inside it. When one stream has a slow month, another one carries. When you want to step back and travel or rest or just breathe, the infrastructure you built keeps moving. That is the goal. Not a single lucky break, but a structure that works with or without your constant presence. So here is where you are right now. You came into this video knowing you wanted something different. You stayed because something here is resonating. And the difference between where you are and where you want to be is not talent, not luck, not timing. It is the decision to actually do something with what you now know instead of filing it away under someday. The related programs linked down below in the video description are where people go when they are done watching and ready to actually build. Not everyone who clicks that link will follow through. That is just the reality. But the ones who do, the ones who decide today is the day they stop letting fear of the unknown keep them from something better, those are the ones who send messages 6 months later saying they wish they had done this sooner. Go check what is down below right now while this is still fresh. This is your moment.